Hello, good evening. Oh man, the days are getting away from me. It is Wednesday. Happy hump day, everybody. It is April 10th. And I hope everybody's having a wonderful month. Welcome to Kelly's Coffee and Crime Chat. The weather here has been different. It's been rainy, then it's been nice and sunny, and just the right temperature at right around 70 degrees. The next day it'll be cold and rainy again. And I think that's what's going on with our weekend. But I am happy to bring you another true crime case. I am getting better I really need suggestions though, because I'm kind of digging up stories, but this one's been on my list for a while. And I'm glad to get this going because I can put it up for early access on my Patreon. And then I will have it on for free for everybody on Friday. The 12th. My calendar needs changed. I'm still back at last week. Oh, and it's my true crime calendar. Okay. My sources today are clickondetroit.com and wikipedia.com. Wikipedia.org. I am drinking, I almost forgot, chocolate shamrock, and chocolate shamrock is so yummy. It is one of the St. Patty's Day. I had it in a K-cup, and it is just chocolate mint. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful. It is wonderful. Yes, and that is the Java Mama, which it is not available anymore, the St. Patty's Day. But we have a new one called, I have not ordered it yet, salted pretzel. And I'm thinking, I wonder if that's any good. I have tried the salted pretzel before in other brands, and I've liked it. I still haven't ordered any, and I finished all of the peanut butter cup. That did not last long, so I might have to place an order here soon. But I want to thank everybody and for your thoughts, prayers, your comments, and on Stranded in Time. So I hope everybody did enjoy that book. If you have not finished, it's still on Patreon. You pay $5, and you get my book, my novel, True Crime. It's a true crime not true crime. Time travel mystery, Stranded in Time. Plus, you get 2 to 3 extra episodes a month. And I started it in September. So September, October, 7 months ago. And there's 3 episodes so there's about 21 episodes on there. This is going to be early access. So this is not a Patreon episode. But number 2, I got to get going on for April. Okay, this is the case of the Oakland County child killer. I have not heard about this, and it was mentioned in another case, and for the life of me, I can't remember which case it was. But this is between February 15th of 1976 and March 16th of 1977 in Oakland County, Michigan. There was a case where children were falling victim to a serial killer. And they also called this the babysitter killer because the children were fed and cared for before they died. Each kid was found in a public place within 19 days of their disappearance. They wanted the bodies to be seen from the roads, whoever did this. So, one kid was Mark Stebbins, who was 12 years old. And I'm going to go back to these names later. So Mark Stebbins was a 7th grade student. He was about 4 feet, 8 inches tall and weighed about 100 pounds. He spoke to his mother on the phone on February 15th of 1976, about 1:30 p.m. He told her he was going to come home from an American Legion that he was at. And he never showed up back home. So she called the police around 11 o'clock that night. On February 19th, 4 days later, 11:45 a.m., a man named Mark, I cannot pronounce this last name, I'm going to spell it, Boetighigheimer, was walking toward a store. He was walking through a parking lot, and he thought he saw a mannequin with jeans and a blue jacket, but he realized it was a child's body. They found out the boy's body had been put there recently from witnesses. There were witnesses, some were walking through the parking lot. One guy was walking his dog at 9:30 a.m. and the body was not there. So it had been just put there shortly before that, between 9:30 and 11:45. So his death was determined as asphyxia, and because they said he was smothered, and they found rope burns on his neck, wrists, and ankles. He had been sexually assaulted with a foreign object, and he had 2 lacerations on the left of his head, near the back. I don't know what that was from. I don't know if he fell or they hit him. Then there was 12-year-old Jill Robinson. She left her home on December 22nd, 1976, after an argument with her mother over dinner, that she was supposed to help with the dinner, and she refused. Her mother actually told her mother's name was Carol. She actually told her to leave the house until she became part of the family. So she did. She packed a backpack, took her bike, and rode it, leaving her house. A family friend saw her about 4.5 blocks away. Jill's father called the police around 11:30 that night. The next day, her bike was found behind a hobby store. Her body was found on December 26th along Interstate 75, not far from the police station, and this was in Troy, Michigan. She had been shot in the face. She was clothed, even wearing her backpack still. She had been fed for 3 days before she was killed, but there was no sexual abuse. I mean, this is just strange to me. They were fed, they were cared for, they had the same clothes on. Then there was 10-year-old Christine Mihelic. Mihelich. Christine was a 5th grade student at Pattongill Elementary. She left a bowling alley, which is where her mother's place of employment was. This was on January 2nd of 1977. A mail carrier found her in a snowbank in Franklin Village on the 21st of January. She had her same clothes on. There seemed to be no violence, no sexual assault. Death was determined as suffocation. Her family claimed this was handled horribly. They actually filed a lawsuit in 2012, but it was dismissed a year later. 11-year-old Tim King borrowed 30 cents from his sister and left home to go to the pharmacy 3 blocks away. A clerk sold him some candy at 8:30 p.m. His parents came home around 9 o'clock and Tim wasn't there. His sister actually left before the parents came home. She kept the door unlocked for him to come home after he left the pharmacy. They looked all over for Tim and called the police the next morning. The police went door to door asking questions, as he was the 7th kid to go missing in the area. 7th. He was found on March 23rd, 1977, along Gill Road in a ditch, not far from a busy intersection in Livonia, Livonia. His skateboard was 15 feet away. He had his same clothes on. Autopsy showed he had his favorite meal, KFC, and he had been cleaned up and suffocated. And the reason why I'm talking about these are the 4 that police say are connected definitely. They are very similar. Tim had also been sexually assaulted with a foreign object. And they knew they had a child serial killer on their hands, because these 4 were similar. The boys had been sexually assaulted, the girls were not. Very strange that they had been taken care of days before they died of suffocation. Or shot, either one. I don't understand. Because I'm looking back here to make sure I'm not giving false information. So there was Mark Stebbins, Jill Robinson, Christine. Yeah, Christine was even suffocated. I thought I read that there had been a shooting, but I could be wrong. Maybe they were all suffocated, because I don't see where Jill Robinson Yeah, she was shot in the face. Not sure if I even said that. Maybe I did. I just don't remember because I was given all this information. So she was shot, and that was the only thing different. I don't understand why, but who understands any of this, really? There were other children that did go missing, and I was going to talk about them, but I wanted to talk about these 4 in this case, and I might go back and do another episode and talk about some of the other cases that I found in these articles about this. This investigation was the largest in the USA at that time. One witness said she saw Tim King walking up to a guy that was by a blue AMC Gremlin, and the car had a white stripe down the side. The police stopped everyone with a car like that. They also investigated a child porn ring in 1977, which was on North Fox Island. This investigation led them to Frank Sheldon, who lived in Grosse Pointe, and Jerry Richards, who was a teacher in Port Huron. And he would recruit young boys to fly to the island. Jerry would, that Frank Sheldon owned, and that was the North Fox Island. Jerry had a private jet and flew kids there. He had a filming operation for child porn. What I didn't learn was, what did he do to make money to have a private jet? And then the other guy owned an island. It's like, who are these people? But Frank left the country in 1976. He ended up dying in 1996. He was never prosecuted. Jerry was, however, prosecuted for child porn. He is now deceased. They do not believe these 2 were the Oakland County child killers, if there's more than one. Some think that the killer was a victim on the island that they had. It's very strange. I don't understand why they don't believe that they were, because I never learned that it was proven that they were not the killer, unless I missed that in the article, but I didn't see why they don't believe that it was them. Okay. I mean, they could have worked with the person, but weeks after Tim King was killed, a psychiatrist got a letter that had many spelling errors, and it was from a man named Allen, saying he was a slave of Frank. The letter said that they both served in Vietnam, and Frank took revenge on residents in the area for sending men to Vietnam. This Allen said he accompanied Frank, but Frank was the one who targeted the boys to be killed. He told this psychiatrist to reply by printing the code, Weather Bureau says trees to bloom in 3 weeks. And it was supposed to be printed in an edition of the Detroit Free Press. The psychiatrist arranged to meet Allen at a bar because Allen wanted to exchange photographic evidence for immunity. But Allen never showed up. He was never heard from again, which tells me if this guy was real, he may have been killed. He may have, I mean, he's going through doing all this, but he didn't show up, which is very odd. That just had me thinking, boy, this is another mystery. Did something happen to him? Did somebody find out he was talking? A child molester named Archibald Sloan was suspected when hair found on 2 of the victims' bodies of it was the 2 boys, Tim King and Mark Stebbins. And the hair they found on the bodies matched his hair, but it was not his because the DNA didn't match. It just matched when they saw it. It was the same color, same type of hair. And he said that his excuse was he lent his car to somebody else. They even tested John Wayne Gacy's DNA, which was not a match, because they tested him because he was in the area at that time. And a witness claimed to see Tim King being taken by 2 guys. One resembled John Wayne Gacy. Parma Heights, Ohio, there was a Ted Lamborghini, and I thought it was kind of a coincidence. His last name's Lamborghini, and he's a retired auto worker. He was arrested for a 70s sex ring that tried to take in boys in Detroit's Cass Corridor, and they were charged in 2006, it was Lamborghini and one other man named Richard Lawson were charged in 2006, and they were, Richard was still living at that time. Let me see a minute. It says still living. I got to turn the page. Lamborghini pled guilty. Oh, so I get it. These were the only two that were living. I think there were 5 total. And Lamborghini and the Lawson were the only 2 living. Lamborghini pled guilty to 15 sex-related counts, so he wouldn't have to take a polygraph for the Oakland County killings. That's why he pled guilty, so he wouldn't have to take a polygraph. That's kind of fishy right there. Even for a reduced charge in the murders, he would not take a polygraph. He was the top suspect. October 2007, Mark Stebbins' family filed a wrongful death suit saying Lamborghini abducted Mark and held him for 4 days in a Royal Oak house. He had lived in Metro Detroit at that time, and I guess that's where this house was. It was February of 1976. And he held him in this house before smothering him. Lamborghini was never charged in the Mark Stebbins death. Tim King's family came out with a documentary called Decades of Deceit, and I have not found out where you can watch this. I completely forgot to look it up. Decades of Deceit. And in this documentary, they condemn the police and prosecutors for the investigation being sloppy. Funds from the sales of this documentary were donated to the Tim King Fund, and this fund is to help abused kids and activities for children of Birmingham, which was the area they were from and where this happened. But see, so this happened in different areas of Detroit, different towns, it sounds like. And I'm not sure if you can actually watch this documentary because they were selling it and because of the sales. But it would be very, very interesting to look up. I wonder if it's on YouTube. But there were many more men of interest. No DNA matches came of them. They tested all kinds of DNA on all kinds of men against these 4 murders. They never found who it was. So this case is unsolved. It's so strange to me with DNA now, especially the ancestry DNA. It's like I really hope that they find out, because there's a lot of other murders. Like I said, I'm going to probably do this in a separate episode. I just didn't want to confuse the whole thing and have too much information, because I wanted to focus on this one here. These 4 kids were so similar, and they found these other killers, but their DNA didn't match. So it wasn't them. I just think it's the most bizarre thing that 4 of these kids, they were cared for, they were fed, and that's why they dubbed that, also called it the babysitter murders. I don't know. I've not heard of this. I heard about it. There was a sketch, and that's on wikipedia.org. Somebody did do a sketch of who they thought it was, but they, like I said, again, they never found the people. I think it was more. I would think it would be more than one, but I'm not positive on that, because that's what they say through these articles, that they do think that it's more than one person. But I just wanted to talk about it and get it out there, because I've not heard of this, and I just thought that, back in the 70s, that they still have not found who's responsible. I really wish they put this on Dateline or something just to get it out there. And who knows, maybe the people that did it are dead. That's a sad thing, that these cold cases are so many years later and the people are dead. But that is the case. And I'm pretty sure this is number 103. I was going to look on my podcast before I got on here, and I completely forgot. But I just wanted to do this one today for this week, and I am going to have some photos up. There's not very many, because they don't know who did it. So I'm going to try to have some photos up on Instagram and Facebook and on Patreon. Patreon is well worth it. I do episodes, some based on movies. I did the murder of Walter Collins from The Changeling. I did the girl who got murdered from the River's Edge the movie, if anybody remembers that. I did that case. I did quite a few, either old Hollywood murders, and which I've got some more that I'm thinking of doing. And it's just really interesting finding these cases that I've not heard of that were big at the time. So, other than that, I have been trying to, let's see, what have I watched on Netflix? I'm trying to think of if I've watched any other, like I binged the Manhattan Homicide. That's a good one. I think there's only 5 of them though. Highly recommended. I binged watched that because I just did the Carnegie Deli Murder Above the Carnegie Deli on Patreon, and that is the girl from Dirty Dancing who got murdered, which I did not even hear about. So that is also on Patreon. And I'm trying to think of what to do for my number 2 episode this month. And like I said, I'm trying to think of what I even watched lately. Don't think I've watched anything new. If anybody has any suggestions for documentaries or anything on Netflix or anything, any channel, because I got Max, I got Peacock, Hulu, let me know, because I am looking for something else to watch. And I'm still listening to, Popcorn and Ketchup just did their new episode is on Back to the Future 2. Back to the Future, the first one's already on there. And that podcast, I've talked about it before, where these guys talk about these movies that they watch now, but they're older movies that they've never seen before. And, usually at least one guy has seen it. There's like 3 of them, 3 guys. And then one of the other guys has not seen them. So, I'm looking forward. I got to listen to that because I love the Back to the Future, franchise. But it is a very good podcast. That is Popcorn and Ketchup. If you like movie reviews that are very, very enjoyable to listen to, because these guys are really cool. They're funny, but they get the point across. So you know what, especially if you've seen the movie. If I don't see the movie, I don't really know what they're talking about, or if it's been, like, for me, if it's been a long time since I've seen it. But I am such a movie fan. I'm also working on, we went through my dad's house last weekend and getting rid of some stuff, and I wanted to keep stuff for my scrapbooking. So we took all the photos out of some of the albums to keep, if we wanted to keep them. And I told him, save the photo albums, I'll take them. So what I'm doing is I'm making a whole nice scrapbook of my family photos and old family photos. And 70s, man, the 70s, the wallpaper, the styles. It's like, oh my gosh. And I'm decorating the pages with lace, flowers, and whatever, any other. I wish I had some 70s, 70s type of flowers or you know what I mean? The 70s designs, I think would be so cool. And I might have something like that around here to help decorate some of these photos. I'm just gluing right over the plastic. You know how the photo albums have the plastic that you pull up? I'm gluing right over that. I'm putting everything right over the plastic. And I'm going to decorate the front. I'm going to redo the front and the inside covers. And I am just having so much fun with this. So, and my dad had 28 millimeter reels of film that we used to watch back when we were young. Like, he would take his 8 millimeter camera, and this was like 70s stuff. And I dropped those off to be converted into a DVD. So I cannot wait to get that back. But they said it's going to take about a month. But, I just cannot wait to get that back and watch it, because I completely forgot I don't even know what's all on the whole thing. Like, I don't even know. I didn't even know we had 20 reels. So I told the guy at the place, I said, I don't know what's on these. So I'm hoping that it's all pretty, pretty, hope it's all okay. But, yeah, it's a lot of like family stuff. And I think There may have even been some before I was born. I don't know, but I'm just so interested in watching this. So that's all for today. Have a wonderful rest of the week, everybody. And if this is popping up on Friday, have a wonderful weekend. We are almost 2 weeks into April. This is amazing. So I hope everybody's having good weather. Stay safe out there. Remember, watch your back. Make sure you're okay. Do not take your eyes off of your back, your peripheral vision, all that. I just want everybody to be safe when you're out. And I always say don't trust anybody. So that is all for today, but I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, everybody, and I will see you next time.